Tonight, the plan to get Townsville's economy back on track.
CBD utilities get a $51 million makeover.
A house fire under police investigation.
And the special mascot lending a hand at Billabong Sanctuary.
Across Townsville and North Queensland, this is 7 Local News with Brough and Joanne Desmond.
Good evening, thanks for joining us.
Good evening.
After a tough period for Townsville, finally there's some good news. A national think tank says the northern region could have an economy worth $20.6 billion by 2031. And it's working with community leaders to make that happen.
Vivian von Drainen, 7 News.
Industry leaders say morale among Wilmar cane growers has plummeted to an all-time low, with supply agreements still not locked in for next season. Wilmar met with growers last week, but both parties are still struggling to reach an agreement.
Police are investigating a fire that destroyed a 2-storey home in Mundingborough overnight. The fire started in the Mackay Street home just after 10 p.m. and took crews 2 hours to put out.
The $51 million upgrade of Townsville's rundown water and sewerage system has started. The 4-year project has been part of the council's plans for years to ensure networks can cope with the CBD's growing population.
Lachlan Coote has taken on a new role as the Ronald McDonald House Ambassador. The Cowboys fullback hopes to raise some much-needed funding.
Townsville's 2nd Cavalry Regiment's mascot, Courage, met with fellow wedge-tail eagle Thunder at Billabong Sanctuary today. The wing warrant officer lived at the sanctuary when the unit first moved to town, and it was the beginning of a special partnership.
And ahead in 7 News tonight, we take a look at what's happening around the north this weekend.
And celebrating the legacy of an art-loving pharmacist. Nice having you with us on 7 News. Townsville's art scene is celebrating the legacy of a local gallery run from the back of a shop in the 70s and 80s. Local artists say the Martin Gallery was instrumental in launching their careers and changed the city's cultural scene forever.
And now for a look at what's happening around North Queensland this weekend. Here's Lakey and Lance from Star 106.3.
Hey guys, Lakey and Lance here from Star 106.3. The weekend is fast approaching.
That's right. There's plenty going on around town this weekend. Let's take a look.
Well, you guys, you have a nice weekend too. Let's get into Swart Nath, Gavin Cooper's Origin debut. Well, it had it all.
It certainly did, Brough. Look, of course, the Cowboys scored for Queensland, and while New South Wales won, Jonathan Thurston has labelled the Blues disrespectful for their post-match antics. We'll have plenty more on that next. And the Northern Fury's rising star set for soccer's world stage. Welcome back to 7 News. Cowboy Gavin Cooper is adamant last night's taste of State of Origin won't be his last following the 30-year-old's long-awaited debut. The Queensland forward scored a dream try, but it was New South Wales who avoided a series whitewash in another controversial match, with Jonathan Thurston labelling the Blues disrespectful for what they did post-match. Meanwhile, Cowboy Lachlan Coote has just started his NRL judiciary hearing for a contrary conduct charge stemming from Monday night's loss to Canberra. Heat coach Rod Anderson has demanded Townsville lift in the absence of sharpshooting Mirko Jeric ahead of this weekend's state basketball road trip to central Queensland. A decision to switch from athletics to soccer is paying dividends for Northern Fury player India Cuban. The teenager is just 2 camps away from being selected in Australia's World Cup qualifying team. Now, it's hard to argue with JT from last night. I'm pretty sure Paul Gallen earlier in the week accused Queensland of being bad winners. So what does that make the Blues last night?
Mate, it's motivation. Hey?
How long till game 1?
Hang on to that for next year.
12 months to go. Go on.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, stay with us. Livio's in shortly with all the weather for us, and Scotty Hillier has our fishing report.
G'day, Livio Regano with tonight's weather. Well, it's getting pretty cold out there. Massive blanket of cloud has completely obliterated the sun. There isn't a single spot in Queensland where it hasn't started raining at least a little bit, and there's plenty more rain coming tomorrow and likely into the weekend as well. Temperatures today across the Herbert Burdekin. The range in Townsville was 21 up to only 24 degrees. Humidity this afternoon of 64%. Air got to 21 only, and Charters Towers, would you believe, just 17 degrees. At the satellite loop now, you can see a massive band of cloud has covered the state of Queensland entirely. It's due to an upper-level low pressure system that's constantly developing and intensifying, and it will be slow moving, and it will bring rain to all of Queensland over the next 2 days, but particularly the central area where a severe weather warning's been issued. If you look at today's chart, you'll see why it's been so cold. An unusual situation of cold southerly winds underrunning a thick blanket of cloud. Cold southerlies usually bring clear skies, so the sun hasn't had a chance to heat up the ground. We've had maxes of 8.5 degrees at Roma, which has to be an all-time record, and there's a couple of others as well. On tomorrow's chart, on top of the upper level low producing widespread rain across Queensland, you can also see this offshore trough accentuating the winds along the coast, for which there's also a warning. To the latest from the BOM, boating forecast for Townsville waters. Definitely not a great day on the water with a strong wind warning in place. Things should ease a little over the weekend, but you may want to make other plans. High tides will be after 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, with the lows expected around lunchtime. Now, the Herbert and No Burdekin, rain tomorrow, heavy at times with a possible storm. Townsville, 12 up to only 19 degrees. Air 19 as well, and Ingham 18. Brrr. Northern Goldfields and Upper Flinders, also rain tomorrow, possibly heavy in the east. Charters Towers just 15 degrees, and Georgetown 17. Looking ahead for Townsville, looks like those rain patches may carry through the weekend. The cloud cover will keep the mins out of single digits. Maximum temps will warm up on the other side of the weekend. I've had a request from Joe Kane to explain mirages, the strange images of shimmering water and upside-down mountains often seen over the dry plains of inland Australia. It's an optical illusion that occurs when light from a distant object gets reflected off a hot or cold air boundary before it gets to our eyes, making it look like it's hanging upside down in mid-air. Ancient seafarers apparently used mirages to catch a glimpse of faraway lands well before they appeared above the horizon, which is pretty clever, I think. Thanks, Joe, for the question, and thank you all for your loyal patronage to 7. Now it's over to Scott Hillier with the fishing report.
Yeah, good on you, Livio. Well, wind and rain forecast for the weekend isn't ideal if you're planning on wetting a line. Tip for the diehards will be to find a little spot tucked in out of the breeze. Good run on the tide. That full moon is on the way, so that's a bit of saving grace. Here's a couple of tips. Good luck if you do wet a line over the weekend. Remember, always check that latest forecast before heading out. I'll be back here next Thursday night. 7 local news. Have a top weekend.
Great, thanks for that, Scotty. And that's 7 News for this Thursday. Thanks very much for your company.
Just a reminder, of course, we have a replay over on 7.2 coming up in a moment. Otherwise, we'll catch you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.